Hi everyone, I'm RN and welcome to the world of Pikmin. Today we'll be discussing the Snavian, Hunt and Peck, and Gourdfeather family, but before that, I want to say a thank you to my channel members Oscar Borjas, Morgan, and Alex Billings. I appreciate the support. With that, my special guest Press A will be assisting with narrating, and it's great to have him on here. Take it away, Press A.
Thanks, RN. I'm Press A. I run a YouTube channel with my cousin Ty, and we focus mainly on doing Pikmin challenge runs. So yeah, I'm definitely used to killing these enemies, not so much talking about their biology. But today, that's gonna change, because I'm here to talk about the Gourdfeather. The Gourdfeather family is comprised of one member, the Wattlequaff. The Wattlequaff can be seen in Pikmin 4 and has cream-colored feathers, and a large tubular beak that it uses to inhale Pikmin for consumption. It can inhale other objects as well, such as pellets, treasures, and rock bombs, if you wish to use them to explode them from within. Here is Olimar's notes on this creature.
Its overdeveloped respiratory muscles allow it to suck in large volumes of air through its long, thick beak while feeding. Its feathers are too small to use for flying. The current theory is that this is due to its niche position in the ecosystem, being quite secure thanks to a lack of natural predators and little competition for food in its habitat. However, with the expansion of Pikmin territory, recently its numbers have been gradually declining.
I was pretty excited after reading this note, because it's the first mention of Pikmin actually having territory, and of them seizing it away from predators on the planet. It's actually nice to hear that they fight back well enough to pull that off, even without a captain's coordination. Moving on from the Gourdfeather family, we will discuss the family that is the main focus of this episode, the Snavian family, comprised of 3 members, Downy Snagret, Burrowing Snagret, and Pileated Snagret. Beginning with the Downy Snagret, it makes its appearance in Pikmin 4, and is the youngling version of the Burrowing Snagret. It doesn't burrow like its adult counterpart, but rather hops around on a singular leg and can peck Pikmin it gets near to. Though, when it comes to combat, they do take some time to swallow Pikmin, which leaves a chance for rescue, and if you upgrade Ochi's charge enough, it can finish a Downy Snagret in one strike. As a final note, they can be seen near burrowing Snagrets, or sometimes are revealed to be in eggs around maps and caves. Never noticed that myself, but there's footage. Here's Olimar's notes discussing this youngling.
Due to a common phenomenon known as imprinting, this baby will recognize anything that it sees or hears within a given length of time after it hatches as its parent, and consequently follow it around. However, the Downy Snagret has 2 specific conditions for imprinting. The first is that the target must be tall and blue, and the second is related to the sound of its cry. This means that it will never make a mistake with something as small as we are, and will instead recognize it or us as food. Since it is still a fledgling, the Downy Snagret does not go underground to feed. Instead, it stays on the surface, where there is plenty of food. It looks harmless enough, but beware, its parent may be hiding nearby, until the baby is old enough to fend for itself.
Now, we will transition to the Downy Snagret's adult form, the iconic Burrowing Snagret, which I think may be an audience favorite. It appears in Pikmin 1 through 4. From Pikmin 1's map Forest of Hope, where you have to fight 3 of them at once, or it being a boss in Pikmin 2 in the White Flower Garden. The Burrowing Snagret is just a staple enemy that's really good at erupting from the ground and eating multiple Pikmin very quickly. Living up to its family name, they do have a serpent-like body with scales that make it immune to damage, except to the head, that being its weak point. Once enough damage is done, it'll return to the ground for a short period of time and strike again, repeating this process until it's defeated. As they strike from the ground, sometimes they do get stuck for a moment, giving you an opportunity to get some extra damage in while minimizing losses. Another tidbit I wanted to bring up is, depending on what game you're playing, it drops different things upon perishing. In Pikmin 1, they drop a handful of pellets. In Pikmin 2, they leave behind their head. And in Pikmin 3 and 4, they leave behind their whole body. Another thing I enjoyed to see was that they tweaked combat mechanics over time, where they could get their beat stuck on occasionally trying to strike, which I thought was a super cool detail to add. Now, there's a lot of info on this creature, so bear with me through all these notes. Here's Olmar's description of this species.
The majority of snagret species lie in wait to ambush and capture prey, with a body type perfectly adapted to such sudden strikes. It violently attacks small, surface-dwelling insects. Distributed across a relatively wide range, subspecies of snagrets suited to the varying soil conditions have emerged, making the snagret the most geographically represented species besides the bulborb. Visually resembling the burrowing snagret is the burrowing snarrow, the range of which partially overlaps with the snagret's range. While the two may appear similar, when pulled from the ground they can be distinguished by the presence or absence of tail and wing markings.
To add on to this info, we have extra statements from Pikmin Garden, which is a part of Nintendo's website.
It has lost its wings due to degeneration and is unable to fly. And it does not have good eyesight, but it has a heat-sensing organ that allows it to accurately locate its prey.
Quickly, we're going to mention the burrowing snarrow that was spoken of in Snagret's log. The snarrow is never shown in any Pikmin game to date of this video, but it is shown in mods like Pikmin 251. Maybe they'll release a real example in a future sequel, but until then, it's just a passing mention. And the final member of the Snavian family is the pileated snagret, appearing in Pikmin 2 as a boss as well. The pileated snagret differs in appearance from the burrowing snagret, with its green scales and crest of feathers, which is where the term pileated comes from, with pileated meaning having a crest covering the pallium, and pallium meaning the top of the head of the bird. It also differs in its behavior of fully exiting its burrow and hopping around on a singular leg during combat. I will now show you the boss fight of the pileated snagret. Now, here's Olmar's notes on the boss.
This variety of snagret has the ability to both burrow underground and walk above it. Its earthy red coloration and distinct yellow ear and eye markings make it immediately recognizable. Despite featuring a chimera-like merging of serpent and avian features, the pileated snagret has poor eyesight for a bird, perhaps due to extended periods spent underground. To compensate for this, its nose features a thermal sensing organ common to many snakes, making it a dangerously effective hunter.
And that concludes the Snavian family members. Up next, RN will be discussing the final family for this episode, the Hunting Peck family.
Our final family, the Hunting Peck family, is comprised of 3 members: the Sparrowhead, Scornet, and Scornet Maestro. Beginning with the Sparrowhead, the species appears in Hey Pikmin only, and is shown in multiple areas throughout the game. They're one of the most common enemies seen in Hey Pikmin. Similar to red bulborbs throughout Pikmin 1 through 4, their attack takes a significant time to charge while they hover near you, and they are defeated in one hit, so there's very minimal danger in encountering them. It was hard to even find footage of them attacking because of these reasons. And here is Olimer's notes on this small creature. They have a rather pesky habit of appearing out of the sky to attack. They're cute up close though, aren't they? If the SS Dolphin 2 didn't have such an aversion to bugs, I'd want to take it home with me. For the next section discussing Scornets and Scornet Maestros, we're going to speak of them together since that's how they are seen for the most part. They only appear in Pikmin 3, and they are somewhat similar to bees. Scornets can be seen fighting in coordinated formations, or shielding their queen, the Maestro. They can impale Pikmin, and eventually consume them if allowed to fly away with them for a long enough period of time. The Maestro itself doesn't seem to have any offensive capabilities, and simply coordinates the smaller Scornet individuals with its harp-like mouth that it utilizes to deliver musical cues as directions. Now I will show you a snippet of the Scornet Maestro's boss fight. And here is what Olimar has to say on both the Scornet and the Scornet Maestro. These highly social insects always travel in groups. Each of them has a unique role in the colony. This type is a small, though still adult, worker female. Rather than lay eggs, they spend their lives carrying out their queen's will. In response to their queen's sonic commands, they move in unison as if they were a single entity. To see them dance through the air is a sight to behold, but don't look too long. Their stingers are still deadly. And the Maestro's note. Known for its striking lyriform mouth, it does not settle at a particular nest, but migrates across the waters in search of food. In the spring, the Maestro awakens from its hibernation. Before the advent of summer, she travels with a male partner to the cooler climate of the mainland, where food is plentiful. The male is smaller than the Maestro, with a white body and blue feet, back, and tendrils. It has no wings, and thus cannot fly. The Maestro secretes a pheromone to control workers to carry out its commands, which it issues via complex musical cues. When the Maestro is no more, the listless and directionless workers perish along with the rest of the colony. I kinda hope one day we see the male version of the Scornet Maestro described in this log, but that's for another game. Well, that is all for this episode. I want to thank Press A again for coming on as a special guest. It was a lot of fun to collaborate with somebody else and have a co-narrator, and I'd like to have him on in a future episode, even if it's not World of Pikmin specifically.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, RN. This was a lot of fun. I love these games so much, I will take any excuse to talk about them. But yeah, if you want to see some Pikmin challenge runs, come check out our channel. And once again, thanks to RN for having me on. Have a nice day, everyone.